This is a meeting of the Plainfield Housing Advisory Committee on May 27th, 2026. We'll call the meeting to order, and the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the May 13th meeting, which aren't quite ready yet, so we'll pass on that. Any changes to the agenda? We've got the community agreements with Lydia, which she usually reads, but I'll just give a quick summary that we agree. If we disagree, we agreed. If we disagree with policy, not personalities, and we treat each other with respect. And then we'll move on to any public comment. Okay. The Plainfield Housing Advisory Committee charter from the select board asks for 10 members and 3 co-chairs. So Lydia found that working as the co-chair was a little too much for all her other obligations. So she decided to stay on the committee, but not be a co-chair. Do we have any interest in a third co-chair from any of the members present? Okay. Not a lot of interest there. We'll try.
Don't all shout at once.
Yeah, that disturbs the video recording. If not, we have a few members that aren't here, so we'll try again at the next meeting to get some more volunteers. Everybody seems to have a pretty full plate. So it's not a lot of work. We just have to be involved in creating the agenda and chairing a meeting. We're going to rotate by the month, so it's not a big deal. But I guess we do need 3, so we'll keep working on that. And we are also, there was a list of interested parties to be on the committee to get to replace Vicky, and I don't have that list in front of me. Did you get? I know
one of them was Sam.
Sam. Janice Grill was on it. I'm trying to think of a couple more.
Alicia Weiss was on it, and just for the record, it's 9 people, not 10.
Okay.
On the committee. It doesn't matter, but. I think it's always wants to be an uneven number, probably.
Right. So, but we still need a member.
Yeah.
If I was to think of anybody, I'd think of Sam, just because he's got some skills that are directly related to housing, and he's been to a meeting or 2. He seems interested. That's my thought.
I can ask him. I know that he has a conflict. He often has a conflict at this time, but that. I'll talk to him about it. I see him regularly. Okay,
I'll ask him. You ask him and we'll get that back.
Janice could not do it at the moment. She's busy with Stephen's health, so.
Okay. And I could ask Alicia if she was if she has any conflict. So we'll do that feeler and get people back. Some nominations for the next meeting. Okay, that sounds good. I put into the description of a recent PDU and ADU in town just to bring the committee up on some ideas and what's been happening. The PDU is up on the Middle Road. It's a PDU that was approved by the Development Review Board, and the creator of it is Frank Mitchell. He runs a quarry. I'm not sure how many acres he has. 50.
Well, it's Lower Road. It's on Lower Road.
Oh, it's Lower Road, right. And
he has 50 some acres.
58, I think.
Yep. And he's putting in the idea behind the PUD is to have 8 pads with service that you could park a tiny home, a mobile home, and he's doing it by the month on the leases. And it's an interesting concept. It meets the requirements of the PUD. He also, because he ran a quarry, I think he has to do an Act 250 permit on this also, just because once you're in the Act 250 system, you stay in the Act 250 system. So that's one thing. The other is on East Hill. A person applied for an ADU on a parcel across the street as a separate building on it's on the same property, but it has a separate driveway, separate water and sewer, and it's a very much a separate piece of property that when I was first asked about it, it didn't strike me as the idea of an ADU, but when you parse out the definition and what's allowed, as long as the ADU requirement, the one solid ADU requirement is that it can't be more than 40% of the primary dwelling, or it can be up to 1,100 square feet. But if it meets that requirement, it's on the same piece of property, doesn't really matter whether it has a separate driveway or separate utility service. It would still be an ADU, and it would be available for that good financing. So those are two housing options that just took place in town that were sort of a creative use of the zoning ordinance that we have in place and the state ordinance of an ADU. So I threw that out there.
So just to elaborate a little bit, a PUD is a plan unit development, and if people are interested in it, the engineering stuff is all online in the development review part of the town website under government, and he's calling it a tiny house. Tiny house. What I forget. Tiny house.
Development, maybe.
I guess. And
village.
And I don't think you could put a mobile home there. I think it has to be like a built tiny house, because if he puts a mobile home there, it's gonna get regulated by the state. So I'm pretty sure, and he's a smart guy, I'm pretty sure he knows that.
It has to be something on wheels.
It has to be something on wheels, but not a manufactured, there's a definition for mobile home, and it can't be that, or he'll be regulated by the state, which, knowing him, I'm sure he wants to avoid.
What's his name again?
Frank Mitchell. It's the quarry that's next. We don't adjoin it, but we're like one parcel away from it.
And even though I don't feel as if I adjoin it, I actually do, because our land goes from Middle Road down to Lower Road, and the part of it that's by Lower Road is next to him. So I got all the proposals and everything, and I attended the meeting, and I was in favor of it, definitely. I thought it was great.
He's done the work.
Yeah.
So
It's got a loop road around. There are 8 sites. There's a community building in the middle. Everybody gets a storage area. And he wants to do it month to month, because if he has any trouble, he wants to be able to get rid of people.
He's
A character.
He's a character. And I mean, I like him. He's helped us out a couple of times. I chat with him on occasion, and but he's got a ways to go still to make it happen, because he's going to do all the work himself, put in all the septic systems and all of that. Well, the other project that I thought is an adaptive reuse project on the Middle Road, which seems like that's another kind of option, and that I was happy to see.
What's that one?
Caitlin.
Oh, but she's not going to live in the barn.
And then it's changed since Lloyd talked to me.
No, I mean, the plan is they're going to build what they call a barn dominium.
Yeah, that's living in the barn.
Up the hill, though, on a concrete slab, like further away from the road.
Not in the barn?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, look, when Lloyd talked to me about it, and he
Yeah.
said it was in the barn, and he was a little confused, and I called Karen to kind of try to make sure everybody was on the same page, and my impression was it was in the barn.
Well, I guess they
They-
could be living
and
in
that
the
they-
barn while they build the other.
I mean, we don't have to get into it now, but
Yeah.
what Lloyd told me was they were gonna put an apartment in the barn, live there, and then build the house at some point, and then the apartment in the barn would turn into an ADU. And they went over all that with Karen, the zoning administrator, and it seemed like that was a doable thing, and, you know, the adaptive reuse is another good way to get some housing in places that already exist, and,
Yeah, I think those three examples are interesting, creative uses of the options that are available to us. So as we hear about those, it's good to just report them back to the committee so we know what's going on. The next item is Graham about the walking.
I just want to ask one more question about the ADU.
Oh, yeah, sure. Go ahead. I try to get a little closer to the iPad so we can hear you.
I just have a question. I
Yeah.
just want information about the ADU. Where is it located? And this question.
do you hear that, Will?
Yeah, I don't know what the question is about.
Betsy was interested in the, I don't need to speak for you, but speak louder, I guess. The ADU, where is the ADU and who, you know, what's the deal with it?
I forget the name. The name will come to me. It's up on East Hill.
Donnie Kane.
Donnie Kane. Yeah, it's Donnie Kane's property. And so
Yeah.
the ADU's proposed, there's a little shed up on the hill now, and it looks like that's where he's gonna put the unit.
How do you spell thing? I think it's K-A-N.
With C-A-I-N.
CAIN, Donny, Donny.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
sorry.
That's where it is.
Okay.
So, Graham, do you wanna, we got Rose Paul here who's involved with the walking path to the co-op, and she can give a little more details on where that stands. Rose, do you want to just give a brief summary on it?
Yeah, sure. I didn't know that. I didn't know what the agenda was about, but hi, Graham. We've met
Yes,
once
hi.
or twice, and I'm on the board of the Cross Vermont Trail Association. We're in a long-term project to build an off-road path, mostly to ADA standards, from Lake Champlain to the Connecticut River. And we have about half of that off-road now. And it turns out that it would work for us to use this path, say from Route 14 over to the co-op, as part of the Cross Vermont Trail. I could go into more detail another time, but that's the bottom line. And then coming east, the trail would go into the village, and then it would go off onto the rail bed going east toward Marshfield.
And it's gone.
We're squeaking by.
Okay.
Let's see.
That's
Me and we have an executive director, Greg Western. Me and Greg, Carl Bissix, when he was still chair of select board, and a few others from town met with Mike Davidson and Chris, who's, I know his last name, Chris from the Creative Campus, to talk with them in December. And if we, to ask if the trail could go through the campus. They were very interested. They said, we'd love to have that. And that would be a really key parcel. And then when I tried to contact them a couple times in January, I wasn't getting an answer. And I think they were very busy with certain things they had to deal with. So I kind of let it ride for a while, but I'm trying again. I got some help from Carl Bissix. We got Mike Davidson's attention, and he's told us how to contact him and that he's the contact for this. So I feel like we can make forward progress. The other thing I've said out loud is that Cross Vermont Trail actually does have some discretionary money to build small segments of trails. And so, and you know, we'd love to work with volunteers, et cetera, but Greg really knows how to build trails. He's had a whole career doing it. So we'd really like to help make this happen. And that's what I would say.
Great. Is there a thought for the river crossing component as it continues on Route 2 or along Route 2?
Yeah. We see three options. The one that maybe we like the least is to just come out of the Goddard property and then cross the river on Route 2, because by that time, the shoulders are wide.
Right.
Another option, and I haven't talked to landowners that have joined this, so caution, but I believe it's a short public road that goes into the Cape Farm. And it's a good solid bridge over the river there. And I think it's a town road. It's off of, I'm going to space of the Coburn Bridge Road. It's off of the Coburn Bridge Road, but it crosses the river. And then you could just take Coburn Bridge Road, a relatively quiet dirt road. And then a cool thing is there's a segment of Old Route 2 that goes across the frontage of the Plainmont Cemetery. And I've walked it, it's brushy, the alignment is there, and it's very gentle. You know, so that would be a great trail alignment, and it just dumps you right out into the parking lot of the co-op. A third option, which is not a great one, is to collaborate with VAST. They have a bridge over the Winooski. It's a typical smallish suspension bridge. Cross Vermont has collaborated with VAST a number of times. We're good partners. You know, a lot of people are scared on a suspension bridge. The decking is usually too widely spaced for bikes. So, you know, those are things we deal with. So that's the sitch.
Alan, you've got your hand up. You got a question?
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you. This sounds fantastic. And thank you all for what you're doing. If Northwood can help in any way or participate, we would love to. So just wanted to say this is amazing. And thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
And I'm sure the Northwood community, you know, obviously if Mike and the group can set that up, I'm sure we can figure out a way to come through. Or if not, we do have the VAST trail system that comes on the other side by the power line. And this is amazing. Thank you.
Great.
Great, thanks. Well, thanks, Rose, for bringing us up to date. It sounds like a project in motion. And when it comes to building trails, let's all get out there with McLeods and shovels.
Awesome.
Okay. You good with that, Graham?
Yeah, oh, thank you. I wanted to ask a question about, Rose, do you have other grant funding possibilities in the future? And like, when would this, when would you imagine this could come to fruition or come to get started?
Yeah. All right. Greg is spending this season and probably next building a new 2 miles of trail off-road in East Montpelier. It connects up. It's going to fill a big gap in the trail. And here's the dead honest statement. We don't spend a lot of money on land where we only have landowner permission. We will spend money on land where we get a permanent trail easement. So ideally, we would talk with landowners and get permanent easements, and then we can invest in a trail on their land.
Good policy.
So that sounds like the future, not this year.
Not this year.
Rose, while we have you, this is David. Julie told me that the National Park Group is kind of changing what they're going to work on, and that the connection stuff was also might be part of that. Is that?
Yeah, I could give a very short summary of that. The
That'd be
national,
great.
a program of the National Park Service called the Rivers and Trails Conservation Assistance Program was kind of given to our town by folks in the state to help in flood recovery. And we thought the focus was going to be imagining what the land could look like after the FEMA buyouts up and down the Brook Road. But that situation is too in flux. You know, it's just too uncertain. We just don't know when FEMA's going to do anything. So the National Park Service folks had done a lot of scoping, you know, a broad scoping, and said, look, we could help you folks with the trail to the co-op, basically. And also, I know it's not necessarily your thing, this committee, but there's 3 FEMA buyouts that were getting signed this month on the river, on the Winooski River on Route 2 on the way to Outer Spice. So they were going to take those 3 lots, and they're like landscape architects, and they do community engagement. They'll be coming to our, you know, they'll be talking to the broad community, but they're going to try to help us imagine what those 3 buyout lots could look like. And then at the same time, start drawing some sort of renderings and possible alternate kinds of routes of the trail to the co-op. So we're very fortunate to have their help.
But are they going to look? Are they going to look at the trails to the co-op from the upper village, like from the other side of the bridge, where there's no good sidewalks now, or are they just going to look at, you know, what kind of from the existing? Are they going to look at modifications to the village itself for trails or paths, or are they just going to look? The way Julie told me, I thought, oh, maybe they'll look from, you know, using some of the property from those 3 houses for sidewalks or trails or something.
Okay, well, I just would like to say 2 things about that. One is, we've always imagined Cross Vermont Trail would just come right along Main Street, and you know, it helps the businesses. If we want to also have a path along Great Brook someday, the FEMA buyouts, that's cool too. All that is, but I don't think they're going to spend a lot of time looking at that. What we did ask them to look at, though, is the trail is going to have to go along Route 2 right in the village part of Route 2 and then drop down at the blinking light, you know, onto Main Street. And we all know Route 2 is awful for bicycles. So we've asked them to, if they could do some kind of renderings and visioning about what traffic calming would look like along Route 2 and accommodating bicycles and pedestrians. And there is this strong state policy that they can invoke. It's called Complete Streets, and it's a VTrans policy. And, you know, it says all the right things. We want to accommodate multimodal wherever possible, blah, blah. And it's good stuff. And apparently some of Route 2 is going to get paved. We've learned from Carl Bissix, it's going to get repaved. And VTrans is willing to put in a little tiny piece of sidewalk to get people up to the parking lot for the Opera House. They'll consider, I'm not sure, I don't know if I remember right, there's talk about a sidewalk on the north side of the road that goes along the frontage of the horse farm in as far as Route 214. You know, because right now it ends like across from the post office. So I'm not sure if they said the town would have to fund that, but they're willing to, you know, let it happen, or I can't remember. Carl would know. So there's already a little movement. And if we can use the expertise of the National Park Service people to prod V-Trans, that would be a good thing to do more for us.
Hi, Alice. Rose, sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, Rose, I think, we were thinking, I guess, that from the intersection towards Outer Spice on the south side. Really, I mean, for years, the town has considered, or at least some people in the town have said the importance of having a complete some sidewalk there, so that people could walk down to Maple Fields, whatever. With 3 houses being removed, one of the problems in the past, because I was on the Regional Planning Commission in the 90s, and they kept saying, one of the obstructions was the fact that there wasn't much room between the road and the properties, and some people who owned properties weren't willing to give up any frontage. And but if we have 3 properties being removed, and that will be public land now, town Plainfield land, there's a good portion of the pathway there between the town already owns one little piece of land. I mean, it just does. It would be something that would be great for us to begin to plan for and hopefully execute, in the near future, so people could be able to really have a complete walk. There always have been people walking that.
Absolutely. Wouldn't that be fabulous? I'll pass it on to the National Park Service folks, and they are gonna do some kind of public input. So, there'll be opportunities to voice that, but I'll pass it directly to them. And they haven't talked much at all about the 3 buyouts and what it all could look like. It's a slow process. It's great. It's a great idea.
Yeah, good. And one more thing is that you're probably aware that Goddard originally, and as far as I know, continues to, but be part of that agreement that they were going to maintain a path from the post office to sort of like the intersection. They were going to maintain a mode path. And I always thought that was a little flaky. But anyway, that was the agreement. And they haven't really kept up on that. I think the first year that they made that agreement, I don't know when, 20 years ago, they did it, but they haven't since. And maybe there's some way we could leverage that a little bit.
Yeah, let's just keep that thought alive, keep reminding folks, Betsy.
Yeah, okay.
Rose, I have a question. The 3 buyout properties, do we have any sense of when they're going to be demolished?
Oh, I wouldn't be the one to know. Michael Billingsley sits in on these meetings with the Park Service and is the one keeping people up to date on FEMA buyouts. So the last we met, he said, they're scheduled, the transfer of the properties is scheduled to be signed this month.
Okay. Well, that's,
and that's all I know.
Thank you.
It's Quentin, they own two properties, and the third one is Ricky? No. I can't get it. I have that information, but I can't get at it since we're using my iPad.
Do they abut each other?
I think it's the 3 in a row.
They do abut.
Yeah.
So that will be an open
Yeah.
space.
On the south side or the north side?
South. Riverside.
Okay, we're having trouble hearing people on the iPad. So Thanks, Rose, for bringing us up to date on that. Any
Welcome.
other specific questions for Rose before she heads off to probably get dinner before her next meeting? Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes,
Rose.
we'll see. Moving on for the agenda, the NTAP funding for municipal grant. And David, our sort of small grant committee tried to get a meeting with the Regional Planning Commission, and David can't do it. They gave us 2 dates, the 9th and the 11th. David can't do it on the 11th, and neither can I. So we chose, we didn't hear back, so we chose a Microsoft Teams meeting with Nikki and Eli at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. Oh, it says June 9th. Okay, so we do have. I can't quite hear you, David.
Yeah, the 9th.
Yeah.
That was the date that we agreed on, I thought.
Yep. So there is that is if anyone else wants to join on that in on that meeting, let me know and I'll forward the invitation for it. And this,
10 a.m.
The
on the
meeting's at 10, right? Will?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
10 and it's a Teams meeting. Anybody who could make it into town could meet at their office too. But I will forward that. Just let me know. And David, if you want to just give a brief summary of what the meeting will be about and the sequence of it.
Sure. So the MTAP is basically the money that we allocated $3,500 for looking into municipal planning grants and possibly other grants. There's the Preservation Trust, Village Trust grant also. And the rural development, who's the interface with the money, Jessica Savage from Rural Development, basically said, well, one possibility is to work with regional planning, and then Will contacted regional planning and Nikki something.
The bottom.
And, yeah, and we set up a meeting. So this would be like a first meeting. I think that I don't know if Jessica is going to also come or Eli Tui, but this would be a first meeting to talk about what the possibilities are and to confirm, I guess, that we want to work with them on it, and that I guess the money goes from rural development then to regional planning. I don't quite follow all that, but so we have that meeting set up, and you know, for my part, I'm interested in talking to them about a pathway to funding rehabs and or new houses on empty lots in the village. We'll see, you know, it could get broader than that. But I know Lydia is interested in houses in rural places too, but she also said it was fine to focus on the village to start with. And we'll see.
And the money, that money needs to be spent by the end of June.
Evidently, I wasn't sure what that meant, whether it
Looked to
meant
me like end of June.
spent or that there was a contradiction. Did it have to be spent, or did the project actually have to be done? I
think you can no, I think once you contract it,
okay,
you're fine. So
yeah, go ahead, Will.
yeah, you don't have to, I don't believe you need to spend all the money, but you need to have the project in place and a contract for it. My guess.
I know Lydia is also talking to Jessica Savage about the public outreach part of that money, which we allocated $1,500 towards, and I've seen I'm on the email, string, but I don't think it's mostly been Jessica letting Lydia know what the criteria is, and things that have to be decided on.
So I think that'll be and that'll be just before our meeting in June, so we'll be able to report on that. So that can be an agenda item. We'll have more information to report. And
Can I
then,
just mention a concern or question?
Yeah.
I would wonder if, I'm wondering if Jessica or maybe, regional planning might help and the others, from a subgroup, develop a housing survey kind of, so that we're ready when we go out to the public and we're trying to gather information, we have a format where, and we're kind of getting some input from other people about what's a good way to do that. I'm just wondering, are they going to help to be a resource for Lydia and our subgroup?
I know that the email that Jessica sent Lydia spelled out what kinds of things the money could be used for, and that one of them was that kind of public outreach, like a survey. I think it might have said the word survey specifically.
Okay, and do you think that includes her giving us some guidance, or somebody giving us some guidance about a good way to put together a survey?
I don't know. I think so. I mean, she's been very communicative, and I don't know where it stops. But so far, it seems like it. She's very responsive, and so I think it's just up to Lydia and/or Hazel to kind of work with her and see how far she goes in terms of giving that kind of advice.
Okay, because I'm sure there's templates out there. We don't have to reinvent it. I'm sure that people have some suggestions about what successes they've had and what worked when things weren't successful. So I'm just saying, yeah, maybe we can tap into that. Maybe Jessica can help us tap into that. There was somebody who was probably on one of these lists of resource people. I can't remember what her name was, but she spoke at one of the Plainfield Forward meetings and said, she wasn't talking about housing service, but she did say though, I'm here, I'm willing to help. So maybe Jessica and we already have the help we need, but there were other people at that event who
They are all listed in the back of this.
I know the list.
Yeah.
I just can't remember.
Yeah, and of course, there are surveys in here that were already done by Plainfield Forward that had 100 community member responses about, what are the assets in Plainfield? What are the challenges? What should be done? Points of vision for the future. Housing, what are the assets in the area? What are the challenges? Reflections of the visiting team, vitality, people, and pride of place. So, I mean, there's a lot of data already collected.
Okay, and I feel like we want to go beyond that to get more specific about what housing is available for this whatever responser, the person who's responding to the survey. I thought that we wanted to go beyond the vision, and we want to go to, okay, what is it that we have? What is it that we need? They think we need. How do we get there? Then, suggestions on how to get there. I don't know. But, to just be specific, so we can end up with information about the town that, indicates that we have whatever. a number of houses that people own, a number of property owners who think they could possibly consider, an addition. Or there are a number of residents here who are in need of of housing, and what kind they would like. Just specific information. I thought that would be what a housing survey would help us to get. I don't know. I guess I could go out and look for a housing survey.
We're having trouble hearing you, Betsy.
I mean, I'm sure there's housing surveys we could find out on, somewhere on the internet, but I thought maybe that these people could help us too.
Hazel, you're on this committee, the working group of that, aren't you? Do you have a copy of this?
I actually don't.
Do you want to take mine and just read it and bring it back?
Yeah, sure, no, that'd be great.
I
I did attend some of the meetings.
Yeah, at the back, all the answers that they collected in person and over the Google Docs.
Yeah.
I think they're really a good starting place.
Yeah.
I agree, we could go deeper on the housing. There is a housing specific section of that, but, yeah, that's my Bible.
And we might be
It's,
able,
it's also, it is online too.
Is it? Oh, okay.
and maybe at the library, they
Yeah.
still have copies available.
Yeah, but you're
We're
I
just
use it-
looking at the
at the.
Plainfield Forward.
Yep.
So,
Okay, so we'll be able to report back on that after our meeting. Betsy, can you make that meeting on the 9th?
I'll have to check my calendar.
Oh, okay, yeah,
think
just let me
so.
know.
What
Okay.
day of the week is it?
It's a
Tuesday.
Tuesday at 10 a.m.
Will, I have one technical question. The Microsoft Office, there's a Microsoft Office link. We don't need to have any special software. That's like that would be like a browser. Just click the link and it'll connect.
I believe so. I believe so. You can do it off. Yes, you do it off the Microsoft browser connection. You don't need to install it.
You
Yep.
can set up Teams and you might get slightly
Right.
better connection. You can do it just from the browser.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can do it like from the browser. Okay,
Yeah.
great. We'll move on to the next item, and that is committee reporting structure for reports to the select board. And Liz, you want to describe that?
Yeah. Well, so at a select board meeting that I went to, they discussed asking this committee and all the other committees to report to the select board periodically during the year, in addition to preparing a report for the town annual report. And it sounded at the time a matter of just sort of writing up a report and, sending it. But then when actually the official request came through, what they want is for someone from our committee to prepare a report that arrives with them the Wednesday before their Monday select board meeting. And the number of times per year is up to us, I think. I'm sort of thinking that every 3 months would be adequate. And then that person who prepares the report has to be available for questions from the select board. And then they have to attend the select board meeting, I guess, present the report and maybe get more questions. So it's a little bit more involved than I first thought. What do you all think about it?
We just have to find a volunteer. But maybe if nobody jumps into the ring, Liz, we can sort of share it and decide who wants to go to the meeting. We can figure that out.
I don't mind doing it, really, Will. If I'm going to be taking notes, it's kind of an out.
Oh, okay.
Notes.
But what we could do is in front of, once you get a draft, decide what bullet points or what, sort of prioritize what we want to present to them. That from the committee.
Right. What's worth telling them about?
Yeah.
It could be rotational. You could start and then
It could.
over time, if we're still here, we could
Yeah.
rotate it to other people.
Yeah.
Okay,
So then really, I'm not sure of their schedule, actually. I know it's every other Monday. But like if I tried to write the report by Wednesday, the 10th, which is our next meeting, I could send it to you, Will, for like an okay or.
yeah, and we could review it at that meeting, just generally. We'll put that as an agenda item.
Okay. And
That
then
sounds
I
good.
send it to them, and then let's say their meeting is the 15th. I'd
Yes,
go
they will be
on-
meeting on the 15th.
Okay, they will. All right.
And that would work well, because it would, particularly, it could include our meeting on the 10th, because we'll have a report from
Yeah,
regional planning, and anything we do with grants is gonna have to get approval, so, you know, it might have relevant information for them.
they are particularly interested in their own workloads. And, you know, anything that they may need to vote on or, you know, take up for the town. So
They have a significant workload.
they do, yeah.
I don't think we're adding too much at this point.
Well, the order, which I think is,
Oh.
that is actually the next
It's our next
item.
item.
So,
Yep, I get yeah, we'll move on to the the next item on the agenda, and that's the vacant and dilapidated housing ordinance update. And I had a brief conversation with Peter, and he would like the work group working on that ordinance to connect with the health officer and the zoning administrator, have a conversation about how they interact with the ordinance. And he wanted to have a clearer understanding of the fee structure on that ordinance before the select board got it. Because these are all things they would ask anyway. So in order to make the select board meetings a little more effective, have some of these questions answered ahead of time. And then also probably meet with maybe Karen Hatcher and Francis Rose as a subgroup of the select board with the ordinance work group to hash out some more things, the details that they're concerned about. Rather than just, I mean, I sent him the ordinance and he said, yeah, but these are the questions we'd like answered before, you know, more details on this stuff. So, and I know Alan Goldman has some interest in this ordinance, so I'm gonna, and so does Adam. So Alan raised his hands first, so we'll call on Alan.
Why don't you please let Adam go first?
Okay, Adam, go ahead. Oh, unmute, please. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Adam Krakowski. I live at 109 Main Street in Plainfield, and this is an issue directly affecting me and my family about vacant buildings. And would love to give input wherever it's feasible, whether it's to this board or the other group. But it's a deep concern, and we've had, as it's been around town known, an ongoing raccoon issue, as well as now an issue with something being done to the house that directly affects us without anyone residing in the house next door to us. So.
Okay, maybe we can set up a meeting with the ordinance work group that you could join.
Would be happy to.
If my email is under the Planning Commission, Will Copeland, it's on the Planning Commission page. Just send me a quick email, and we can organize something out. And I think that would be good. The more input we have, the better.
It probably would be reasonable to send Adam the draft.
Sure.
I don't see any reason not to.
No, absolutely. Once we
Yeah.
connect electronically, we'd be glad to do that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for offering that. Alan, you want to chime in?
Well, thank you. I don't know if it's chiming, but I'll do my best.
Okay.
Well, first, thank you all for what you're doing. And Will and I have had a chance to speak a little bit. And my first suggestion would be, as I said to Will, there's not been a lot of dialogue. I really recommend the carrot versus the stick. I had mentioned to Will, there's been a process that I've gone through with my spaces. So I bought the first place that's now empty because it flooded because the culvert is not on both sides of Route 2. I bought that in 2002-03 when I had cancer and my ex-wife was living next door with my daughter. We fixed it up. It became a really nice space, and a pastor lived there for a long time until it didn't flood in a traditional way. Our problem is with that white building is that across the street, there's an elliptical culvert that goes halfway, and that's designed to handle the flow. In the White House that flooded, it went up to the second floor. We had to take the fire department had to take them out of the second floor. That culvert is from the early 1900s and is a granite structure that's only about maybe 10 inches wide and about 4 foot tall. That was why the building flooded. I then met with the group from St. J, because the group out of St. J are the ones who actually run the North Montpelier group, and showed them the problem, asked them, what do we do? The stream is coming down the hill. It's going right through the corner of the house and it flooded the house. They gave us permission at that point to move the stream because it goes dry. And they said to reach out to the town and to the state again, but that I would have to buy Holly's house and take down the barn. When Holly's house came up for auction and the yellow one across the street, we bought them both. We fixed up Holly's. Actually, I'm mixing up some of the timeline. I apologize. So actually, that's correct. We bought Holly's house at the same auction. The state said to please tear down the barn so they could do the work that we were talking about. I did, because that's where the flood had pounded up. The water had impounded against the barn. And then, life just kept going on. We were hoping at some point the state was going to follow through like they promised. I guess we really need the town's assistance to lead to fix the other half of Route 2. Because and you were discussing in an earlier part of your meeting, as you folks were discussing, the right of way of Route 2 really comes almost right up to the two houses there, for goodness sakes. But there's enough room there that they could fix the elliptical culvert and not have to close a lane. They could divert it while they fix one end and fix the other. That was our hope, and not lose the house. The house did not flood in the flood. The house flooded because of the lack of the elliptical culvert. And so that's why we were sitting on that place. The yellow one across the street, I'm deeply sorry that the porch has collapsed and we're trying very hard to move forward. But I want you to know that wasn't just sitting in silence either. I had spoke with George Cushing for quite a while, asking if he had any ideas, anybody with concepts. I expressed the same thing to Will as well, that, if you have any ideas, please. Georgia thought the co-op was quite interested at one point. I said it would be my pleasure. They could have it for my cost. I'm very pleased that they did what they did at the Plainfield Hardware. So I think that's been a great blessing. And we are very open to ideas, concepts, what you can do. There's not a lot of retail space in our downtown. And so I am open. We've been working with architect Vitzhume to look at, since I bought the place from my ex-wife, the brick house, how could we access maybe some of the land that does not flood at all? Could we do some housing up there, maybe abandoning the driveway that's so steep going up to my ex-father-in-law's house that really is like death? I drove it most of my life picking up my kid. It's a terrible, terrible experience. And so I just want you to know, I haven't really heard from anybody. And then, COVID happened. I've had my own health problems. Plainfield gets flooded twice. Would you believe it? Will we ever forget July 11th? Ever? So I just don't want you to think that we're not trying. And we'd like to work at the town in any positive way with anybody who has any ideas to try to utilize those properties. And we really appreciate your assistance in trying to get the state to follow through with their word to complete the elliptical culvert so that that piece of property does not have to be abandoned. Mr. Billingsley had approached me about that. But as I said to Mike, it would be a shame to lose a house that really doesn't flood because of the flood. It flooded because the culvert is from the 1920s, 1930s. So you've given me a lot of time. Thank you. I'm open to any questions, comments, if you have any ideas, if you have any young folks, because I'm almost 70, any young folks that have a dream for any of those properties, I am very open. And I want to commend Rose Paul. She is not a youngster either for what they're doing. It's amazing. So you folks have a lot on your plate. I realize that. And so I wanted to reach out. Northwood is still very much, we're in East Montpelier, but who are we kidding? We're part of Plainfield Village. And especially since Goddard has been revived. And that's why I was excited to hear about the path. And we'd like to participate in any way. And again, I'm completely open to any for-profit, nonprofit, any ideas of how to best use those properties in the very limited area that we have. Thank you so much for so much of your time.
Well, thanks, Alan. And we'd sure like to keep this dialogue going. And I know David has a bunch of ideas, so we should try to set up some time to meet.
Yeah, Al, this is David Sheckman. We've crossed paths many, many years ago. I appreciate what you've said, and we'll definitely be in touch with you. One of the things that I'm hoping for with regional planning and a possible planning grant is to look at those carrots that might go along with an ordinance if we're able to do that. And I think it'd be great to get together at some point. We're just getting started, but hopefully we will be able to give you some ideas and figure out a way to work with you on doing something with those houses. In terms of that culvert, I just wanted to add that the plan is to remove the dam, and that might have a pretty significant effect on the water that flows back from the river. I know that water flows from both sides, is my understanding, through that culvert, but it might also make, one of the things they're going to do is work on all of that whole bank that's on the north side of the Winooski, the south side of Route 2, when they pull out the dam. So that would be a natural time to work on that culvert. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wait a minute.
Has a question.
Thank you so much for mentioning that time.
Okay, Liz, you got a question?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with which your properties are, Alan, but we have a working group as part of our committee here that is trying specifically to work on dilapidated or houses that need some TLC. And if you are free to come meet with us, or we could even go look at the houses with you. And we've got several builders in the group, so there could be some ideas that could come out of the working group, I think. Do you, David?
Yeah,
David's in
Yeah.
that group too. Oh, and Betsy has a question now too.
David, yeah, thanks. Turn in the iPad toward Betsy.
I was about to say some of the same things. I think maybe, I hope this can be a carrot to be able to offer our interest, ideas and some expertise as well, on how those buildings could be converted or removed and done something new with them, depending on their condition. But we do have people on the committee who are really good, knowledgeable about building structures and, hopefully about the cost, but that's seems to be always changing. But the interest in our subgroup and in this whole group is that we could work with landowners. So, hey, pass your number over to Will or whatever, the best way to contact you. And I think we're all looking forward to meeting with you. Thank you for offering.
Okay, great. Well, Alan, let's keep the conversation going, and we'll keep working through.
If I may, I just wanted to say thank you. Yes, I would appreciate meeting with the group very much. I'm excited to do that. Let me know what some of your times are. It would be my pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, great. Well, that gets us to our next meeting agenda items, and I think we might be able to do we'll certainly have a follow-up on the NTAP funding. Should be able to do some movement on the vacant and dilapidated housing, and maybe elect a co-chair and work on that missing member, the additional member.
Okay.
That's a good background, and maybe we'll be able to have a meeting with Alan and Adam and make some. I guess we'll put that under the vacant and dilapidated housing update, but make some progress there.
Are we ready to discuss and maybe make a motion on this housing ordinance?
No. I think Peter wanted that we need to contact the zoning administrator and the health officer, let them know what's coming their way, get their thoughts on it, and try to decide look into a little more of the funding options. Because basically the plan calls to hire local, his question specifically thinking from as the select board cost thing is, what does it cost and what is involved in getting an action from a court order? He wanted some details on that. So he's looking for some guidance on the cost aspect and the legal aspect that I think is we should have some information on. So yeah, I don't think he's seen it. He has a lot of questions still, and we should probably meet with as a work group, work with Karen with the cost and Francis as the housing liaison between the select board and the housing committee. So yeah, we're not ready.
Okay. Are you saying that the ordinance subcommittee is going to meet with those two people, or
yes,
someone who's going
to? I'm gonna try to set up a time where we can meet with them.
Okay, you're gonna do that, Will?
I'll do that. Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. Okay, I think we did we got some stuff done even without all that fancy equipment. So
do we have time? I missed my public comment window.
Okay.
As a Plainfield resident, I had something that I wanted to bring up.
Absolutely.
Which had specifically to do with the ongoing project that I have on Creamery Street. We've been looking at the variety of funding options that are available through the state to be able to complete our renovation. As you know, Will, you were part of our effort a couple of years ago to get our property included within the downtown village district. So we applied for a particular grant that allows us to work on essentially improving the property up to contemporary fire code standards. But our project has sort of fallen in between tiers of how it's being considered. So initially it was being considered as a property that would not need a sprinkler system. But now we're being told we do require a sprinkler system, which is for us at this point prohibitively expensive. We got a quote I reached out to 8 vendors. Only 2 of them were even willing to entertain it because it's so small of a project. But the one quote we got was for $50,000.
Oh my
Graham,
gosh.
I just want to clarify, how many, is your end goal multiple units?
Yeah, the
How
end goal
many?
is multiple units, three total units.
And the sprinkler systems that they want are, they're looking at full on sprinkler systems or the home?
It was a particular rating of
Yeah.
sprinkler system. I don't remember the name and number of it. It's, you know,
And the state?
the state
in order
fire
to get the
marshal.
grant.
Yes, so we
Okay,
will
connected
not be
to
able
the
to
grant.
get, well, we couldn't even be an active triplex without having the sprinkler system. So we may have to revert to a plan to have it be a single family occupancy because it's not seeming likely that we'll be able to stretch another $50,000.
Would they allow a duplex?
It's unclear.
Yeah.
It's unclear.
I'm surprised at that. I mean, Montpelier has a sprinkler ordinance now,
Yeah,
which they've been fighting about for years.
Yeah,
And I think they rescinded it and they put it back again.
yeah, and ours is coming at the state level. It's coming from the
Yeah.
state fire marshal. That's who.
And if you were not trying to get the grant.
We would still be required.
Really?
Yep. Yep. As soon as you go through the fire marshal and pull permits to a construction permit, they weigh in on how the property is modified.
Alan's got his hand up. He knows something about this, probably.
Oh, I've had my fair share of sprinkler experiences. So, a 2-unit should be exempt completely. And even a triplex, as long as there's direct access to the outside, or the hallway that serves that unit is a singular hallway with a proper 1-hour burn rating. And I'm doing that right now in Montpelier. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Thank you. Yeah, we have divided our property up so that it will be on 3 separate levels. And part of the concern is that the ground floor level has access to a porch, which is the main exit from the top floor. And because it's constructed out of a flammable material, that is triggering the need for a sprinkler. Because that's the primary egress for the top floor, even though there are 2 other egress scale exits from that unit.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it after.
Okay.
But I wonder if there's an option for making it not flammable.
Yeah, I bet you that there's some workarounds.
You know, we did that at a theater, and basically coated wood products with a special coating that, you know, that was acceptable to the fire marshal for a pretty large theater.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Well,
I don't know if it would work or not.
I feel like that's the reason that I brought it up to the committee is that I feel like these are the type of challenges that people are going to face if they're trying to create more housing in, you know, Vermont generally and Plainfield specifically. And just to know that we have the resources among ourselves to at least discuss this, I think that's great. I also think that it could be worthwhile for Plainfield to investigate opportunities to be of specific support around navigating the potential challenges of interfacing with the fire marshal and coming up with an appropriate plan to be able to, you know, identify exactly what's going to be required earlier in, because we're, you know, years into the project at this point, and it was a surprise, having been told in the past that it was not going to be required, and now it's showing up. So, yeah, that's just something I wanted to put on our collective radar.
No, that's good to know, and it's an ongoing. I think we all have stories.
Yeah.
I've got stories, and but sharing them and coming up with creative solutions is also useful. So thanks for that, Graham. That is useful stuff.
Thank you.
So with that, I think we could, if anyone wants to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I just wanted to bring up one more thing, which
Yep.
is, I thought that on our list of things we wish to get, to create or do for the town, was a list or a document or something that would, give people ideas of how, one, they could get funding for, of doing, an addition or an improvement, and maybe resources to, get how to get to those funding sources or other ideas. But anyway, that just, reminded me that, isn't that part of what we want to get together?
Absolutely.
as
I
a
think
group?
that could be part of the planning grant.
Okay,
We're calling it a planning grant, but I'm hoping that it becomes a pathway for how can this work? How can we, work with someone like Al Goldman and create spaces, like I've had this fantasy about somehow acquiring or working with owners to renovate houses and maybe turning some of the currently empty ones into duplexes or triplexes. That has a huge impact, the sprinkler thing. And so if we could create that pathway, and here's all the resources that are available, and I think that would be great. And I'm kind of hoping it can come out of this grant process.
okay,
We'd have to get the grant to work with somebody, but, and I think we still have the stumbling block of a nonprofit to work with. I see that as something that we somehow probably have to.
find,
I mean, it could.
somehow be, or find a nonprofit.
Yeah, I might try to have a meeting with, just personally with, the director of Down Street, just to kind of clarify, things there,
Mhm. That's a good
whether
idea.
they can be, how much or how little they can help us.
Okay, and one more question. Adam Kowski, do we want to, someone get back to him?
Yeah, I already sent him an email.
Will is doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, already did.
He might want to join one of our subcommittees or.
Yep, yeah, I'm going to invite him to our vacant and dilapidated housing meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. With that, can we get a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, so a second.
Yeah.
Okay,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thanks, everybody. I'll stop the recording, and I'll send everybody the recording if they want to see it, and we'll post it with the
Yeah,
minutes.
do send it to me.
Thank you, Will.
I
Yep,
forgot
thank you.
to-